Hey, you're listening to the Burnt Out Entrepreneur podcast, where you'll learn why you're feeling so burnt out, some insights and hacks to get you along this entrepreneurial journey. I'm Kylie, former oil and gas manager turned health coach, life coach, and business mentor for female entrepreneurs just like you, and help them heal and recover from burnout.
So, and ChatGPT is good if you need the accountability and support, because they're like, if you just need someone to bounce ideas off of, just go talk to ChatGPT. They'll
I
get you
know.
started.
I use
So
him
good.
all the time for that. And you know, I think I saw that you just interviewed someone on human design. So I'm a generator, or I'm a manifesting generator. So I need something to respond to. So while even like, I'll just be totally transparent. So when someone applies to be on my podcast, they fill out a Google form. I have, Zapier create a Google Doc. So I grabbed everything from the Google Doc that Nikki filled out. I just plugged it into ChatGPT and I said, give me an outline. And boom, he spit out an outline based on what Nikki put on her form. And like, it's just a framework. Like we're going through pretty much the outline, but like you don't have to stick to it. For me
Yeah.
as a generator, it allows me to respond to something. And like, I use them all the time for that. I'm like, give me ideas for blah. I'm like, I don't like it. And like you can even tell it to alter your voice, different things, right? Like, oh, change it to like it doesn't sound like me, make it more casual, whatever, like tone and all of that stuff. You can manipulate it to sound more like you, and you can get really in depth on the prompts and just so many different things you can do with him. I call him a him, ChatGPT.
Yes.
But
Yes.
like once you start learning, it's just like your smart TV. When you first got your smart TV, you didn't know what you were doing with that thing, you know? And now you're probably a
Yep.
pro at that, or even like your smartphone, like your first smartphone, like, oh my goodness. Yeah. But now it's old hat because you're in it every day, you're using it. So like between Nikki and I, we're just telling you, like, don't be afraid of technology. It's here, right? Like, are we on like a monochromatic screen anymore? No, no, we're not in DOS. We're
Yes.
there's so many different
There's no
things,
dial-up tone.
right? But yeah, like we're in the 5G and it's probably gonna get, 60, 7G, whatever. And not pressuring you to get into it if that's not something you're into, but AI is going to be here. So,
Hmm.
like there's early adapters, like I'm sure Nikki and I are I'm sure Nikki, you're an early adapter as well. And like there's
Yep.
different people on the bell curve. Like, hey, you might be a late bloomer, and that's fine, but you may have to eventually get on the curve. Like, oh my gosh, I remember my dad got his first smartphone. He had a flip phone for the longest time. And he got a smartphone, and he was hating it. Like, I'm not switching. I'm not switching. Once he
Yep.
switched, man, he has all these game apps on his phone now, and sending pictures and sending
Mhm.
emojis and like, okay, Dad, see, it's good, right?
Yeah. I love it. It's so funny. I remember when I got my first iPhone and I was like, what the heck is this? Oh, and then I think the biggest learning curve for me was when they took the button off the home screen.
Oh
Remember, you
yeah.
used to have a button to
Hmm.
unlock. And see, we'll barely remember, and it was only a few years ago. They took that off, and it's just a touch screen now. And I remember I was like, what do I do? How do I not press this button? And now it's like second nature to me. Like we just pick up on things so quickly, and
Yeah.
I honestly, AI has been around for longer than you probably even think if you're listening. Like it's just been around for a long time. Not like we've heard a lot about it the last year, but it's been around for a while. I was
Right.
actually using I was using Jasper for probably a year before ChatGPT came out. And I remember when
Right.
I found Jasper, I
Same.
was like, this is this is this is
Right?
answering all my it's just fix. I mean, my business partner Alex like just about cried when I showed it to her. I'm like, this is fixing all of our problems. It's just making everything so wonderful. And so when ChatGPT came out, I was like, I already have something that I love. And
I
then
did
of
the
course
same
everyone kept talking about it.
thing. I did the same thing.
So for like a month, I was like, no, I already used Jasper. I already have something. And then I got into ChatGPT. I'm like, this is so much more streamlined and just so much easier.
Right, because you don't have to put the
So,
prompts in anymore. You can just talk to it like a real
nope,
person. Yeah,
it's
so much
fantastic. It's
better.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do that. I have it on my phone as a it's just right here as a yeah, it just opens right up and then I just press send a message and I just talk to it. I just let it type in the words for me. So I'll be on my morning walks and I'm just talking to it and I'm like, "Hey, I need this and this and this and this and this." And then it sounds like me
Right.
and it's my own words because if I sit down to type it, I'm like, "Best
It's
regards, Nikki."
right. It's so
But
hard
yeah,
to
well,
get out of that corporate speak. It's for the longest time, I struggled writing copy on social media, email copy, because I was so used to like there's some kind of barrier between the head and the keyboard that just made me sound super corporate-y. Had this corporate filter between me
yeah.
and the keyboard. And when I write by hand, it's like, oh yeah, no, 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 no. It's way better. But like you said, I use Otter for that for myself. Like I just talk to Otter. I'm like, hey, I have this idea. A lot of the times it's either when I'm in the shower or I'm driving home from the gym. I'm like, oh, I have an idea for this. And I'm like, I am not ready to go live right now. So, right? Then I just talk to Otter and then have him, I can go back to Otter and say, okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to create a reel on this. You know what I just discovered? I use Big View, the teleprompter app. They have an AI
Yes.
in there too.
Seriously?
Yes,
Is
there's
that new?
uh, relatively new. I think they've had it for a while. I just tried it out. Yeah. And I used it to write me a script for a reel.
That's amazing. I love that. Sometimes I'm like, I really love this trending audio, but I have no idea what to do with it. So I will actually give ChatGPT the audio and say, I need to create a reel and this is my industry and give me 5 to 10 options. And it's like, here's the text overlay, here's the caption, here's the video
Yes.
you should. I'm like, there is absolutely no reason why anybody should have any sort of creativity blocks in this day and age. Like if you're feeling like you have writer's block or you have no idea what to post on social media and you do not have a chat GPT account, that is step number one for you is to go play around in that. It's so much fun. It's fun too. I had
Yeah.
a friend who asked me, she was like, I have to have this really hard conversation with one of my neighbors about this situation. How would you approach it? She texted that to me. I literally put it into ChatGPT and it gave it gave me steps and I just texted it to my friend and she was like, that is so brilliant. Thank you so much. And I was like, that was ChatGPT. And she was like, what? Like, yep. So,
I did the same thing to a friend at the gym. We're sitting in a sauna and she's like, I need to write a cover letter. I just had an interview. And I said, Chat GPT, hun. She's like, what? Like, yes. She's like, but it's so robotic. And I said, no, you just tell it exactly what you wanted to say. You can give it the name of the interviewer and what was a highlight of the interview for you. Just like bleh, into it, and it'll write you a cover letter. I even had ChatGPT update my resume. Just copied everything from LinkedIn, posted in there. I'm like, write me a resume. And it just bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah, even did meal
it's so
plans in
amazing.
ChatGPT. I'm like, okay, I'm paleo. I need, you know, some kid friendly. It's not, I don't have kids. I mean, my kids are older, they're out of the house, but my husband still has a different palate. Like, so I'm like, some paleo friendly kid options, you know, and
That is too funny.
it gave me a
It
lot.
did it.
It did it.
I did
Ingredient,
that this
shopping list,
morning.
everything. Yeah.
I it random stuff. So I started doing prayer walks around my house, and I just wanted one that was like I could just pop into my notes and like cover all the things. Because I mean, there are people who could just say a prayer, and I can too. But then I'm like, dang it, I forgot to pray about that, which sounds so silly. But I wanted something that I could just like commit to memory that incorporated certain Bible verses. And so I just popped it into ChatGPT and I'm like, these are the things I want to cover. And these are all the kids' names and the dog and the, business names and the job and all the things. And yeah, I just put it in my notes and I just walk around the house and just prayed it. It's just like it's there. I don't have to think about it. And
Yeah.
I, have my own little spin on it, but it's just, just nice to have. I'm just telling you, it's good for everything and at every area of your life. If you don't want to use it for business yet, go use it for meal planning or creating a chore list or like planning a vacation. Like use it personally and see how amazing it is. And then you'll be comfortable and confident enough to use it for business.
Yeah. I know.
So
I just had
I
another
love it.
idea for your prayer walks. You could record yourself and then, on a
So
voice
good.
note, and then as you're walking, because sometimes you're like walking too fast or you can't, like you don't want to be reading it from your phone. I get car sick sometimes
Yes.
when I'm reading and walking. So right, you could
Yes.
just have the audio and it plays like a podcast and you can pray along with yourself. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You can do so many
I
things.
love that. I wanted something. Yeah. See, and I'm like, I wanted something I could like start to memorize so that it was just the kids could hear me saying it. And it was just, you
Right.
know, anyways.
Because it's the
So
power of
just
the decree,
cool
what
stuff.
you speak, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so the more that we condition ourselves to speak truth, speak life, it will counteract any of that negativity. And I know some of you listening may not be a Christian, but there is evidence, right? We say affirmations, right? We declare what we
Yep.
want. Like there's so many different ways to quote manifest what we want. And one of those things is the power of our voice, declaring what we want to happen. And even when we're doing like goal setting, like that's another form of declaration that we do. And I'm sure you're doing it in your
Yep.
business. And when we come with expectancy, when we come with the thought like, okay, this is exactly what I want. And I may not know the steps to get there, but having that goal in sight, like whether you like to make physical vision boards or you just like to have, you can have a vision internally. But if we're doing things without a goal, without a why, like they say, right? We need to have a why. We don't, if we're doing things without that, like we were talking about earlier, GPS.
So, yeah. Same thing with this leads framework. Here we go. We're right back into it. It's like if you're not analyzing and developing a strategy, like things are just they're like what's the point? Like what is the
Yes.
point? And it's all just gonna fall. Like you're not doing things with a purpose and with intention if you're doing them that way. And yeah, I'm like, so many things. I'm like, I have so many friends who are like, I want to start praying, but I'm new to prayer and I don't know how to pray. I'm gonna be like, chat GPT.
Totally. Right?
Just like
It's
help, right? It helps.
it
Just helps with that
helps.
creativity. And you're the vessel. Like you are the creative being. You are the one putting things into action. Like the magic happens inside of you, but sometimes we just need a tool to facilitate for that efficiency and to get out of our own heads sometimes, and also for blind spots. Because sometimes I'm like,
Mm.
I've got these three things I want to train on, and I will ask ChatGPT, like, what am I missing? Like, what are the gaps? And it will give me. It
Oh,
always gives me at least one thing that I'm like, yes, that is so important, and it's something that I do with these other things, but I wasn't even thinking about it because I'm so autopilot. Like, it just is second
right.
nature for me, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just did it
Oh,
the other
good stuff.
day and I was like, okay, how do I connect neurodivergent with trauma and executive functioning? And it just so anyway,
Isn't
it's
it
an
beautiful?
upcoming episode that you guys are gonna hear. So, but
I love it. Little teaser and how it came to be. I love that. But I mean, even still, so back to lead generation and using
yeah.
Chat GPT, like if you're a dog groomer and
Yeah.
you're in a group of women over the age of 60, ask Chat GPT, how can I take this this group where this is the purpose of the group is women over the age of 60, and tie in my pet grooming business so that I can have authentic conversations with women inside this group. What are some content pieces I can put inside of this group? And just like Kylie said, it will blend those two things together, and it will find the commonalities in things that you never thought had that would ever have any ties. It'll find the commonalities, so that again, you can go back to the locate, finding where your target audience is. They are everywhere. And
Right.
sometimes it's just about connecting the dots, and ChatGPT and can help with that in so many ways. So I love that you brought that up, because that's something that I do quite often and don't yeah, it's a good thing. People are like, wow, you do that, really? I'm like, yes. Even clients, I'll be doing it thinking it's common knowledge for everyone, and they're like, you can ask ChatGPT to do that? I'm like, yes. It's actually, I almost don't even use Google anymore. I go to ChatGPT first and use it as a search engine.
Right.
And it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So good. So good. Oh my gosh. So in in closing, can you just do a little recap for us of the leads framework and how people can get in touch with you and how they can get their hands on that
Yeah.
training that's coming up?
Yes, absolutely.
Did you enjoy this episode? Want more? Here are a few ways to go deeper. Number one, discover your burnout archetype. You always hear me talking about this on each and every single episode. So get ready to crack the code on your personal burnout style. Take the quiz, go to burnoutarchetypequiz.com and open up your mind to explore new ways on how to manage stress and conquer challenges according to your personality type. Number two, work with me. I will be your personal burnout recovery coach because we're not just talking about change. We're talking about a seismic shift in the way that you conquer your entrepreneurial domain. So strap in and let's embark on a roller coaster ride to reclaim your life and your success. In my coaching program, we're blasting through barriers, including number one, building better boundaries. Right? We're going to stop those energy vampires and establish unbreakable boundaries to fortify your work-life equilibrium. Number two, reclaim your energy. Say goodbye to fatigue and hello to a turbo boost of vitality. Discover the secrets to replenishing your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energy, my specific PEMS framework. And this is more than stress management, okay? We're going to wrestle stress to the ground and make it tap out. Every setback is a setup for an epic comeback. And right, you're going to become a goal-getting machine. We're going to fuse your personal and professional aspirations into a powerhouse of purpose. Say hello to a life that's not just lived, but thrived. Okay, so hold on to your hats. This is not just coaching, it's a revolution of the soul. This entrepreneurial road is not a lonely one when you've got a relentless ally like me in your corner. So it's time to crank up the volume and get ready to hustle with heart. Keep the fire alive, keep smashing those goals, and don't forget, I'm your partner in this electrifying journey. P.S. Let's flame the flames of connection. Catch up with me on the socials. You'll find my LinkedIn, my Instagram, my Facebook, and a link to my Facebook group for more exclusive content in the show notes. We'll see you there.